Okay, so today I wanted to go through all the gear that I use to make my cinematic videos. I do want to preface and just say that you don't need any of this gear to actually make videos. You can make videos with just a camera. That's how I started. And as long as you have a good story, people will watch. With that all being said, this is everything that I use to make my videos. First off, we're going to go over my cameras. Okay, so I actually have two different cameras for two different things. I have my Sony FX30 that I record all my videos on that. And then I have my Sony a6400 here that I take all my photographs on and is the camera that I started off making videos on until I just recently got the FX30. The only reason I ended up going with the FX30 is because it is a cinema camera and I just really wanted 10-bit, but I also still love my Sony a6400 and you can make some incredible videos just with this camera, and I still use it to take all my photographs, and I think it's still an amazing camera. In my opinion, lenses are just as important as the camera that you choose, and I have three different lenses that I use to make my videos. My first lens here is my macro lens, the 40mm TTartisan f2.8 lens, and this is just a cheap $100 macro lens that I bought mainly for my film photography and for scanning that in, but I actually love using it for some macro shots like shots of my eye and detail shots as well. The second lens that I have I use in photography mostly, but I've also used it in some of my videos, and that is the Tamron 17-70 f2.8. I love this lens a lot because of its range. It has a 17-70, so I can zoom in a lot as well as keeping a wide angle for my videos or my photos. The last lens I have is the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. I love this lens because it gives me a nice wide angle for my talking heads, vlogs, and as well as keeping an f1.4 aperture, I can maintain great exposures in low light conditions. One of the most important things when making videos like this is lighting, and to light my videos I use the Nanlite FC120B. I bought this light about 3 to 4 months ago and I love it so much I always have it on this side of my videos as well as a reflector over here to bounce some light onto my face. And I think it's really important to have a good softbox as well to soften the light. I have like a newer hexagon softbox I found on Amazon for like $80 and it softens light perfectly. So I have not too much light on this side of my face, but also some light on this side of my face so it's not completely dark, and it maintains a nice cinematic range. Here is what my setup would look like if I did not have any lighting at all. Even with the FX30, it still looks like trash. Lighting is definitely one of the most important things when making cinematic videos, and I think that if you're inside, you need a light before you upgrade your camera or lens or anything like that. Another huge part of making cinematic videos is audio. No one's going to want to watch a video if the audio is absolutely terrible, choppy, and just doesn't sound good. So I have a couple different microphone options. I have the Rode VideoMicro that I use for all of my talking head shots. I'm also using the Rode Wireless Go 2 right now because it makes moving my mic around a little bit easier for these videos, but I also use it for my vlogs and things that I do outdoors. Another thing in making sure you have good cinematic videos are ND filters. ND filters lower the light that comes into your camera and are extremely important for setups like this where I have a lot of light coming on my face. I'm using an N16 right now, as well as I have a N64 and an N1000 for when I'm outside, trying to maintain a f1.4 aperture, a 1/48 shutter speed, and 800 to 2500 ISO. I use the Polar Pro ND filters, which are definitely top of the line, very expensive. They're about $100 a piece, so I have 3 of them, being $300 for an entire set. If you're shooting an S-Log like me, you're definitely not going to want to cheap out on some ND filters because maintaining your shutter speed and aperture on S-Log is very, very important, especially for color balance, dynamic range, and things of that matter. Now, all those things I mentioned I use daily, so let's talk about some things that I may use on the occasional basis. One of my favorite things right now is the DJI RS3 Mini, and I bought this a while ago, but I didn't really use it until recently, and I'm still trying to figure out how to incorporate it into some of my videos. Next up is my C-stand. I use this a lot for overhead shots, but I also use it for my lighting setups and if I need something more overhead or something like that. Next up is this slider that I found on Amazon for like 20 or 30 bucks on Black Friday. Incorporating movement when you're a solo filmmaker is pretty hard, so this slider makes it a lot easier, and I love getting some of these panning shots with it. The tripod that I use for all my videos and my photos is the Peak Design tripod. It's like a $300 tripod, but I love it a lot. It's very sturdy, nice, portable, and everything like that. Now, I do have a lot of gear because I also bring a lot of film photography stuff with me, and it all fits inside of this KNF bag that I bought for like $40. And I bought this before I went on a trip, and I just still use it a couple months later. It's really nice, lightweight, and it holds everything that I need. Next up is the DJI Mini 3. Now, I haven't been able to fly this in a while because I do live in Ohio and it's been very cold and very windy and very rainy as well, but as of now we're starting to warm up a little bit, so I'm definitely going to be bringing this outside to film some videos on it soon. And that is where we're going to come to the end. That is everything that I use to make my cinematic videos. I'm very grateful to have all these things to make my videos, but remember, you do not need it. I started off with the old Canon. If you go back to some of my old videos, and I had no idea how to color grade with that thing. That was bad. But yeah, that's it for this video. Please make sure you like and subscribe. We just hit 500 subs and we are on the way to 1,000 next, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.